I'd go. If he asked me right now, I'd go. The sentence landed like a slap, not loud, not dramatic, just casually spoken, like she was picking a restaurant. Our therapist blinked once. I didn't. I just stared at my wife, Lila, and felt my chest tighten so hard I couldn't inhale all the way. Lila, Dr. Chen said carefully, do you understand what you just said? Lila shrugged, eyes glossy but steady. I'm being honest. That's what we're here for, right? My hands were on my knees, fingers locked together so tight my knuckles went white. My mouth tasted like pennies. 9 years, a mortgage, 2 cars, birthday dinners, sick days, the little routines that make a marriage feel like a home. And she just erased it with one sentence. I stood up so fast the chair legs scraped. I think we're done, I said, surprised my voice didn't crack. Dr. Chen raised his palms. Mark, let's slow down. No, I cut in, swallowing hard. This is slow enough. Lila rolled her eyes like I was overreacting. Seriously? You're doing this again? Again. That word carried history. Here's the short version, because I didn't need to relive it to know where I was standing. I met Lila in Chicago when we were both broke and ambitious. She was magnetic, smart, funny, always the center of every room. I was steady. I built systems, saved money, kept promises. Her ex, Jonah, was the kind of guy who showed up in stories, charming, impulsive, always finding himself. They dated before me, and his name never fully left our marriage. At first it was harmless, an old photo she forgot to delete, a birthday text she claimed she didn't notice. Then it became a shadow that followed us into every argument, especially once my family started treating Lila like she was too good for me and treating me like I should just be grateful she stayed. I didn't walk into therapy to win. I walked in because I still believed in us. And now she just admitted, in front of a witness, that if Jonah snapped his fingers, she'd leave. I looked at my wedding ring, the gold band suddenly feeling like a prop. I slid it off slowly and set it on the little side table next to the tissues. Lila's mouth tightened. Oh, come on, Dr. Chen's voice went softer. Lila, do you want to clarify? She lifted her chin. Why should I? Mark always needs everything to be a big performance. A shaky breath left me. My cheeks burned, not from anger, but from humiliation, so sharp it felt physical. I forced a calm tone because I could feel myself shaking. You just told a professional on record that you'd leave me for him. That isn't a performance. That's a decision. Her laugh was small and mean. You're so dramatic. I nodded once because arguing would only give her what she wanted. Okay, I turned to Dr. Chen. Can you note exactly what she said, word for word? Dr. Chen hesitated, then nodded slowly. Yes. Lila's eyes narrowed. Why are you being weird? Are you trying to punish me? No, I said. I'm trying to protect myself. When I walked out, the hallway felt too bright. The office smelled like lemon cleaner. My feet moved like they belonged to someone else. I rode the elevator down with a couple holding hands, laughing softly, and I stared at the numbers lighting up like they were counting down my life. Outside, the wind cut through my coat. I stood on the sidewalk, phone in my trembling hand, and stared at my reflection in the dark glass of the building. 9 years ended with one sentence. I didn't call a friend. I didn't go to a bar. I did the one thing I'd always done when life got messy. I made a plan. I opened my contacts and tapped the name I'd saved months ago, but prayed I'd never need. Andrea Holt, attorney. When she answered, her voice was crisp. Andrea Holt, I swallowed. Hi. It's Mark Dalton. I need to file. There was a pause, then a gentler tone. Okay, take a breath. Tell me what happened. I looked back up at the building. My throat tightened again, but this time it wasn't just pain. It was clarity. I heard the truth, I said, and I'm done pretending I didn't. Andrea met me that afternoon in a quiet conference room that smelled like coffee and printer paper. I kept rubbing my thumb over the spot where my ring used to sit, like my skin couldn't accept it was gone. Start from the top, she said, sliding a notepad toward me. I told her everything. Lila's sentence, the therapist's reaction, the way Lila smirked like she'd won something. Andrea didn't gasp or judge. She just listened, pen moving steadily, eyes sharp. When I finished, she looked up. You did the right thing by leaving calmly and asking the therapist to document it? Very smart. My stomach twisted. Smart doesn't make it hurt less. It won't, she said, but smart keeps you safe. Then she asked about finances. I explained our accounts, joint checking, mortgage, her savings, my retirement. She nodded, then said something that made me blink. You said you manage the systems at your company. What's your title again? Operations director, I said. Mid-level, nothing fancy. Mid-level doesn't mean powerless, she replied. And you also mentioned a trust? I hesitated. My mouth went dry. Yeah, my grandfather set up a family trust years ago. It's complicated. Complicated how? I stared at the tabletop. My family doesn't like talking about it. They act like money is a prize you only deserve if you behave the way they want. Andrea leaned back. Do you know the name of the trust? I did. I'd seen it once on a thick envelope my grandfather handed me after my wedding. He'd squeezed my shoulder and said, just in case life ever tests you, kid. At the time, I laughed, like love made you invincible. I said the name out loud. Andrea's eyebrows lifted. Mark, that's significant. My pulse thudded. What do you mean? It means, she said slowly, we need to review exactly what's in that trust and what's been activated. I left her office with a folder and a strange, steady calm. On the train home, I kept replaying Lila's voice. I'd go. And every time, the hurt came back like a wave, but it didn't drown me anymore. It pushed me forward. At home, the condo felt too quiet. Lila wasn't there yet. I walked into the kitchen and saw the little things that were us. The matching mugs, the framed photo from our first vacation, the grocery list on the fridge in her handwriting. My throat tightened. Then my phone buzzed. Lila, where are you? We're not done talking. I didn't respond. Another message came. Lila, you seriously left me sitting there like an idiot. Like an idiot. Not like a wife whose marriage just shattered. Not like someone who hurt me. Just her pride. My hands trembled, but I kept my voice quiet, even though no one could hear me. This is exactly who you are. I went into the bedroom and opened the closet. I didn't throw her things or slam drawers. I pulled a suitcase out and set it on the bed. Hers. Then I placed it carefully beside her side of the closet like a calm statement. I heard the front door open an hour later. Lila's heels clicked across the floor. Mark! Her voice had that sharp edge, anger hiding panic. She stopped in the doorway when she saw the suitcase. Are you kidding me? I faced her, hands at my sides. No, her face flushed. You're actually doing this? Over one sentence? It wasn't one sentence, I said, my voice steady. It was the truth you finally said out loud. She scoffed. I was venting. Therapy is supposed to be safe. It was safe, I answered. You felt safe enough to choose him. Her eyes flashed. Jonah doesn't even matter like that. I let a small, bitter laugh slip out. Then why did you say you'd leave with him, in front of a therapist? She opened her mouth, then closed it. Her gaze flicked away. That tiny hesitation told me more than her words ever had. Then she did what she always did when cornered. She went for the humiliation. You know why this is happening? She said, crossing her arms. Because you're boring, Mark. You're predictable. You don't make me feel alive. The words hit, but I didn't flinch. My chest still felt tight, but there was a new feeling underneath, something firm. I made you feel safe, I said quietly, and you confuse safety with weakness. Lila's lips curled. Don't act noble. You'll come crawling back like you always do. I walked to the counter, opened the folder Andrea gave me, and slid a single paper across to her. What's this? She snapped. It's the divorce filing, I said. Drafted, ready. I'm submitting it tomorrow. Her eyes widened just a little. You wouldn't. I met her stare. I already did the hard part. I left. For the first time, her confidence cracked. She swallowed, and her voice softened. Mark, don't be rash. I leaned in just enough to make sure she heard me. I'm not being rash. I'm being honest. Her phone buzzed on the table then, loud in the silence. She glanced at the screen, and something flickered across her face. Fear. I saw the name before she could hide it. Jonah calling. Lila froze. And in that frozen second, I realized the story wasn't ending. It was just turning. Lila stared at her phone like it had betrayed her. The call kept ringing, that bright, cheerful tone cutting through the tension like a knife. Are you going to answer? I asked, calm. She fumbled, declined the call, then glared at me as if I'd dialed it myself. Stop looking at me like that. Like what? I said. Like I finally see you? Her nostrils flared. He just heard we had therapy today. That's all. I nodded slowly. Sure. I turned and walked toward the bedroom, not because I was running away, but because I refused to fight for my dignity in circles. Behind me, Lila's voice rose. You're really going to throw away 9 years? I paused in the hallway, my back to her, and felt the old pain try to pull me into a pleading version of myself. My throat tightened, my hands trembled. I swallowed once, hard. You threw it away, I said. I'm just picking up what's left. I shut the door gently. That night, I slept on the couch. Not out of drama, out of distance. At 3:12 a.m., my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. I stared at it, heart thudding. Then I answered. Mark, a man's voice said. Smooth, familiar from old stories Lila used to tell like they were funny. It's Jonah. I sat up, the blanket sliding off my shoulder. Why are you calling me? He exhaled like he was annoyed I'd ask. Lila isn't answering. I figured she's with you. She is, I said. So what do you want? There was a pause, then a low laugh. Man, I didn't think she'd actually say it out loud. She finally admitted she'd leave? My stomach dropped. The humiliation came back. Warm cheeks, tight chest. But it mixed with something else now, certainty. So you knew, I said. Of course I knew, Jonah replied, like it was obvious. We've been talking for months. She's been telling me you're stable, safe, that you'll always be there. You're the guy who forgives. His words were calm, but they were meant to sting, and they did, just not the way he expected. I took a slow breath. Listen carefully, Jonah. She's not leaving with you. She's leaving alone. He chuckled. Oh, come on. She always comes back to me. No, I said, my voice even. Not this time. Why? he asked, finally irritated. Because you're mad? Because I filed for divorce, I answered. Silence. I could almost hear him recalculating. Then he said, quieter, You filed already? Yes, I said. And there's something else you should know. What? I looked at the dark living room, the city lights blinking through the window like distant witnesses. You didn't win anything. You just exposed what she's been hiding. His tone shifted. What are you talking about? I'm talking about consequences, I said. Good night. I hung up before he could respond. The next morning, I didn't shout or accuse. I moved like someone finally choosing himself. I met Andrea at her office, signed the papers, and handed over the note Dr. Chen had emailed me, an official summary of the session, including Lila's exact words. Andrea nodded. This is clean, calm, strong. I let out a breath that felt like the first real one in weeks. What happens next? We serve her, Andrea said, and we protect what's yours. Then she opened another file, one I didn't recognize. I also contacted the trustee listed on your grandfather's documents, she said. Mark, you need to hear this. My pulse quickened. Okay. The trust your grandfather created, Andrea continued. It was designed to activate fully if you ever faced a marital dispute involving financial risk. He worried someone would try to use love to access your future. My mouth went dry. My grandfather planned for this? Andrea slid a letter across the table. Cream paper, elegant signature. I spoke with the trustee this morning, she said. Mark, as of today, you are the controlling beneficiary of assets that were being held until a trigger event. I stared at the number on the summary sheet and felt dizzy. It wasn't lottery money. It was something steadier, something real, the kind of support that could rebuild a life without begging anyone. Andrea watched my face. Your grandfather didn't do this to make you cruel. He did it so you'd never feel trapped. When I got home, Lila was pacing, phone in hand, eyes red like she'd been crying more from fear than regret. What did you do? She demanded. I set my keys down carefully. I told the truth, legally. Her voice cracked. Mark, please, we can fix this. I looked at her, really looked. The woman who used to hold my face and promise forever. The woman who called me boring. The woman who said she'd go. I hope you find peace, I said softly, but it won't be at my expense. Behind her, my phone buzzed with a new email from the trustee confirming everything in writing. Lila noticed my calm and faltered. What is that? I didn't gloat. I didn't smile. It's my life, I said. The one I'm taking back. And as I walked past her toward the window, the city looked different. Not colder, not lonelier, just wide open. Because sometimes the most powerful revenge isn't yelling. It's choosing yourself and walking away with quiet dignity.